Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever or whenever you are listening to this. Welcome to another episode of the Rugby Realm. Here with me today are my lovely co-host Jordan and Ethan. Lads, how are you? What have you been up to since I've last spoken to you?
Sweet FA. Well, I say that. I met up with you for unintentionally to go see Daniel Sloss the other week.
Oh
But
yeah,
since that, absolutely nothing.
and we had a really competitive game of shuffleboard as well.
We
So
did. Battle of the
I
Sexes.
I know. So Ethan, I big fan of stand up comedy, right? And my missus got me tickets to go see Daniel Sloss. And I think Jordan, I didn't know he was coming. He got last minute tickets, but he was seeing the same showing as I was seeing. I think I was waiting for my missus to get the loo or something, and I just got a text saying, "I see you." It was just like, what? And I didn't have any signal at the best of times.
It was great because I could see you and I just saw the head go. Start looking around the playhouse.
Oh no. He was really funny though. My face hurt after. I hadn't laughed that hard in a while.
Yeah, it was immense.
But I did say to my missus, like, look, if I'm going to see a comedian, I want to have a couple of drinks beforehand because I want to have that little giddy. I want to be at the giddy level
Yeah.
where you find everything's just that little bit funnier.
Yeah.
So we met up with one of our mates in Edinburgh a couple hours beforehand, and I had a good little buzz on by the time I got to the playhouse.
I figured
Yeah, well, do you know, I was okay at
you were at
the playhouse,
the
but
point.
afterwards, I had a fair few by the time you met up with me a couple hours later. And we went into one of those bars, that I've got like the crazy golf, the shuffleboards, and the axe throwing, and that. I think they've
Alright,
got one
yeah.
in Glasgow as well.
Doing battle bar.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one of the battle bars, and we had a couple of games of shuffleboards. It was boys versus girls, and the trash talking was was next level.
Mostly from Dan and his missus.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it was really there was so much shit talking before you two arrived. Like her
Yeah.
mate Will, who was on my team, just left as you arrived,
Uh-huh.
and there was another girl, I forget her name, but we only met up at Daniel Sloss, who joined us as well, and we were all giving each other a hard. It was one of these things that was like, don't mean anything I'm about to say. Get in your place. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that was all that. I had a job interview on Friday, so and where I got offered the position. So I now just have to make a decision where do I give up being self-employed and go back into employment, or do I swap careers? So
Hey, at least they want you to be driving in the front of the bus and not be like the mascot on the back, like Darrow O'Brien in the mega bus.
yeah, pretty much. What about you, Ethan? What have you been up to, mate?
Not too much. So my wife came back up, so she was here for a bit. Yesterday we were in Glasgow for all of it. So we went to Seagull for lunch, and then when we were going to like the Chinese restaurant before going to see Mum and me in the evening, we actually stumbled across some of the Batman Part 2 film sets.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because I was like, why is this all blocked off? And then I saw, like Gotham City Police on one of the cars, like, oh, this is sick. So there's tons of people there, and there's like the pavement was all covered in this white stuff to make it look like snow and ice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all this like fake Christmassy stuff up. It was like 1930s, 1940s style Italian restaurants and stuff. And you had all these like City of Gotham notices, like $50 fines for littering, the courthouse or the bureau for whatever is this phone number and stuff. It was like, oh, it was cool.
I wonder if they distribute any of those little signs off and that after they finish filming, they're like, we don't need this stuff anymore. It's going to be expensive to ship us back. He's probably from the auction it off or something. But that would be cool to have, like, if you had a parking space outside your flat, like a Gotham City notice or whatever. Oh, mate. So we've got a lot to get through to today. We'll go back to rugby because that's why our lovely listeners download our pod every week. So today we are going to speak briefly about rugby's greatest rivalry. We're going to talk about Fuka leaving for the Wallaroos, and we're also going to touch on a subject that we've been talking about off air for a while, and it's why do the Irish not like us? Why is there so much animosity between Scotland and Ireland now? It happens in football, but it doesn't happen in rugby. I've also put out a couple of videos that loads of you have commented on. So we've got about 10 of your fan questions to get through this week. So yeah, sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, let's dig into it. So, greatest rivalry tour, guys, right? I wasn't on board with the hype. Like, I just wasn't, I'm not going to lie. But that vanished about 15 minutes into the game. Like, the intensity of it was incredible. Both teams wanted it so much, and I'm not sure if the better team were on the day. I'm not going to lie. Like, it felt like to me, South Africa had complete domination, especially in the air and the scrum. It felt like they had more of the ball anyway. But when New Zealand did get their opportunity, they scored, like, almost always. Their efficiency was fantastic. Jordan, did you get the same vibe, or?
I mean, you could see the dominance from South Africa in the set piece and in the air. Physically, it looked fairly even. I think it's a fair assessment to say they were probably the team in the ascendancy, but New Zealand were just more accurate when their opportunities came, especially since, South Africa made like 23 handling errors in that game, which they don't do. And I think that was actually due to New Zealand pressure, some due to Springbok mistakes on trying to do that kind of high risk, high reward play.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen the stats from it other than the ones that popped up on screen. But, like, I noticed that the All Blacks had given away 9 penalties by half time. And I think the Springboks had given up something like 4.
Yeah, it was 4.
And in it, up until about the 50th minute, I was fairly convinced that South Africa were going to win it. And I thought they were going to win it by 10 or 12.
I wouldn't have expected. I had it by 3. First 50 was definitely kind of mostly South Africa. But you got to look in that space of time that New Zealand were also ahead on tries. And that also was something major. We're not used to seeing the Boks have 5 tries scored against them. Like, that's just unheard of at this moment in time. So no, I was really kind of surprised at it. Definitely that scrum about 5 meters out from the All Black line that the All Blacks won the penalty at, that flipped the game.
Yes, the momentum clearly swapped out after that. And it did feel like everything started to fall apart. And I think people talk about scoreboard pressure, and this is something Scotland could probably do a wee bit better on. As the time was running out, not only was just the pressure of the game on, South Africa suddenly started to change the way that they played the game as well because of the scoreboard pressure by the All Blacks. And then you could tell from, 10 minutes out or so that the All Blacks were going to win. And then, was it Jordan that got the last try in the corner?
Yeah, Will Jordan.
Yeah, Will Jordan got that last try when they're down to 13 men, and you're like, no chance, like, none.
Yeah.
I don't think Razzie's going to let that lie. 5 tries to 1. When does that ever happen against the Boks at home?
That's That's the thing that surprised me, actually, and I think I've heard from a lot of the Bok fans that follow me, is that it was slightly unlike Bok performance in the sense that they kept going for posts
Yeah.
when they're usually known for kind of putting their foot on the throat and going in for the kill. They weren't backing themselves as much as I expected.
No.
I was surprised at how conservative they were.
Mm-hmm. I thought that's what a part of the game. Like my mentality swapped, and I thought, oh yeah, maybe it's the right call when it's going to be a tight game. But then I was thinking, no, like we get this at Glasgow a lot, where a lot of people get on at Glasgow for never kicking for the post. I think they did it last season against Munster at home when all the big guns were weighing. A stat came up and it was like it was the first time that Glasgow had opted to take a penalty in something ridiculous like 21 games or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like it's something that dominant teams they just rarely do. I can understand it when it comes to knockout rugby. But I suppose you have to back yourself and just go for the corner. It's the way the game's designed now. I don't think it's worth it going for the sticks anymore.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the game. I think when we saw early on that New Zealand pretty much anytime they got a penalty within range, it was stick it in the corner.
Mm.
And that should have been enough of a telling for the Box to be like, okay, we need to meet fire with fire. We don't need to back off. They had the physical ascendancy for that first 45, 50 minutes, and they did not capitalise on that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very. Does that change the way that you feel about the Scotland performance when we went there? Because we went and gave them a proper scare, but now you've seen them sort of get humbled. Does that affect how our performance down there?
No,
No.
it's two completely different games. There is a bigger intensity between the All Blacks and the Box. The sides that you looked at playing each other were the two best in the world. It was their A teams. There was no weaknesses on paper in either one of their sides. You could argue that the Scotland game, the Springboks went in with a weakened side and they were trying new combos. But this was full blooded South Africa, New Zealand.
See, I was expecting the Springboks to win the tour 3-1. Now, for them to do this, they're going to have to win the next three in a row.
Yeah.
Do you think the Springboks will still win the tour, or do you think it's probably going to be two? We're looking at more of a 2-2 or maybe a 3-1 to the All Blacks.
I'm backing what I said. I think it's a 2-2. I said that New Zealand will pick up a win in South Africa, and they're more likely to pick up that win in Baltimore for the fourth test because there is a bigger, I would say, Kiwi contingent or US fans that like the All Blacks that are going to go to that game over South Africans.
Mm-hmm.
So I reckon it will be a 2-2, and I stand by that.
Did they segregate the crowd of that game? I'm not sure if you saw it. It looked like the All Blacks fans, when the camera panned to them, were in like sections where it was only All Blacks fans. I'm not sure if they got an allocation.
I don't think that was the time. There were some guys that I follow on TikTok who are big Kiwi fans and go to the games, and they were sat in with South Africans. That it's probably just worked out that Ellis, the South African Rugby Union, have given an allocation of tickets, and it's just ended up being like pockets of just Blacks fans.
Fair enough. But yeah, look, I enjoyed it anyway. I don't know the way it's going to go. I was expecting South African dominance. I'm not sure now. But
just wait for the reply next week. Like that's going to tell you everything you need to know. Is how that reply comes in from the Box because they don't have two subpar performances in a row.
The mind games from Razzie haven't worked either. Like, it was he had oh yeah, we name our squad early for everyone else, bar the All Blacks, we're going to keep you waiting. And then there was that little tweet you went up, it's like, oh, just let's all appreciate the haka. And no one jeer it. I was like, just stay dead silent as they do their haka.
And in the press conference, he brought in Jacko Piper to talk about refereeing decisions and that. And that's also something I noticed in the game from both sides. Matt Carley had to deal with a lot in that game because everyone was whinging at him.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, did you see this ref? Did you see that ref? I was like, I would have told them all to shut up and go away. Be like, I'm only speaking to your captains. They were constantly.
He did a few times, and to be fair to him, someone challenged him on something. He just turned like, no, I trust my team. Go back. Yeah. And I quite like. I'm not Carley's biggest fan, right? I think sometimes when the crowd gets against him, it almost gets his back up, and he'll almost go against the crowd. When they get on his back, regardless of what happens on the pitch sometimes.
He also tries to be a comedian. How many times did you hear me would say something and then he would just do a wee chuckle to himself and you go...
Yeah. So, but I thought he was probably the right referee for that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, he did very, very, very well. Anyway, let's move on to some Scottish rugby news. And I know you two are probably have a little bit more to say about this than me. So the head of the Scottish women's head coach, Fuka, left Scottish rugby to be closer to family. And how long was he away before he got appointed? 8 days.
8 days.
Yeah.
8 days later, he got appointed the head coach of the Wallaroos, which raised more than a few eyebrows. Like, the thing is, it's bad from all sides because he's been appointed the job, right? But he doesn't take over until what, next year?
2027.
Yeah.
So he must be feeling
his contract.
Mm-hmm.
He must be feeling pretty hard done by as well. Like, whoever from Rugby Australia posted that, he must be thinking, lads, could you have waited a couple of months before you announced that one? I was like, I'm not even taking over for a while yet. Just keep it quiet for a wee bit. I know we know, but we're the only people that need to know.
To be fair, they've been looking for someone permanent since the World Cup, and they put a date on when they were going to announce it, and that was known for ages. So it's not like he didn't know that it was going to be announced that sudden after he left Scottish rugby.
Look, so we've all had positions, I'm assuming, where, you've accepted a job. Well, I'm in this position right now. You've accepted a job elsewhere, and you haven't told your current job yet. Like, right, so my new job doesn't start for 6 months. Can't really tell them now. I sort of need a job. Do you think he's known for a long, long time and just whipped out, is it all right, I need to do something? I said, look, lads, I'm feeling homesick. I'm going home. Can we terminate my contract, please? I'll stay for the Six Nations, but then I'm off. Or do you really think it was just opportunistic where the Wallaroos were like, hey, here's the job? And he's okay.
I'm going to let Ethan take this one because I've done a lot of talking and we've not heard from Ethan. On you go, pal.
That's right. I feel it's quite opportunistic. It might not be, like a scheming Machiavellian type thing. I think it's just one of those things. The timings have just unfortunately crossed over to make it look a lot worse than it is. I mean, I still think it is completely valid for him to, to step down from the Scotland post for, his family and stuff. I totally agree and support him in that. I think, as you said, Jordan, it's kind of, why did they announce it so early? Because we all knew he was going to get a job somewhere else. He's a talented coach who, from what I've heard, is, really well respected in Australian circles. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like no one gains anything from it being announced. Maybe for Australian fans being, yes, okay, we've got someone, and they may not start till January, but at least we have somebody. Whereas it's just for us, it looks so bad for him as well. That he's just, saying like, oh, I'm wanting to go spend time with my family. Oh, I'm also got a new job. um, and yeah, I think they probably should have paced it out a bit more. Great that he starts in January. That's good that they're at least upholding that contractual side of things, but it doesn't really reflect well on him, I'd say. Might not be his fault it was announced that early, but yeah, it's a bit.
It makes me go back to how did they not see it coming? Like SRU said that they had no idea, um, which surprises me massively. Also, the fact that he apparently has done this similar thing before with USA Rugby, where he decided he was leaving for family reasons, and then months later, he was like, actually, no, I'm going to go and coach Scotland. So he almost seems to have a little bit of history, which I had sympathy for him, but that took something away because I'm like, you've got a track record of doing this, and it doesn't reflect well on him, but on the SRU, it's like, what have you actually done your research and got him to commit to being here for like 2 years?
It's like when someone cheats on the partner to be with you, and then you get surprised they cheated
Yeah.
on you for later on down the line. It's like it's in their nature. I can't wait till he gets the Pumas job a couple of years from now. It's like, look, jokes aside, it doesn't. I don't think anyone comes out looking well from this. Like, Australia look like they've poached someone. It makes the SRU look a wee bit incompetent, even though it's probably no fault of their own. And as a coach, Fuka has done this again. So I don't even know where you go from there. I didn't actually read the statement about what Scottish Rugby said. You have, Jordan. Was it just saying that they didn't know?
I didn't read the full thing. I just saw that it said they were surprised that he had done this. I'm like, how? Were you surprised? Did you just think he was just not going to coach again?
I mean, I think it's so soon. And again, I could use the analogy of like you and your partner splitting up again just to stick down that one. It's like you'll go through a period where you stay single for a couple of months, and then you'll get back on the horse and you see your partner next week with somebody new. You can't help but thinking, wait a minute, when did you two start talking?
Yeah.
So,
it gets a bit weirder.
Can you tell I've been burnt like that before? Does it feel? So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. I think it's the fact. Look, I know Rugby Australia said ages ago they were going to announce it. First of all, that far out to say, "Oh, we're going to announce a new head coach at this date," even though we've got no one pinned down yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's added unnecessary pressure to yourself. There's no need to do that. And then, especially for a man that in his situations, look, I'm not taking over for a while. Like I said to you at the time, if they had waited, let's just say another 2 or 3 months before announcing Fuka, before he'd even taken charge of a game, people would be, oh, well, good for him. Nobody would have raised an eye. It's just the fact. I was like, I'm not sure he'd even landed in Oz by that point. He was probably still packing up his house back in Edinburgh by the time the news broke. So, but they had the whole photo shoot done and everything.
Yeah.
So he at some stage he would have known, like, okay, I want you to hold this ball, I want you to stand by the stairs to sign, this is how we're going to announce you. So he posed for his wee photo. Yeah, okay. I mean, the more I think about this, I don't really know what to say. It's a shambles.
Like it gets Oh, sorry, Dan. It gets even weirder because I'm pretty sure it's on Scottish Rugby News. They were saying he had a significant input in choosing the women's 15 or the WXV. That was
Yeah.
yeah, the WXV squad. I'm like, hang on a second. So this man who's got his foot out the door, who's going to be playing for Scot or coaching Scotland's rivals in a few months, is like, yeah, choose these guys. I mean, obviously, there's professionality and stuff in there and things, but it's just a bit weird when you think that. And then at the end or after Six Nations, on YouTube they did all those like interviews with him,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like there was a major sort of like media focus on him. I'm like, okay, that's cool that seeing more about the coach and stuff, and then he just goes as well. It,
Yeah.
it just feels a bit strange doing all those interviews and stuff, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nuts, to put it.
it's just I don't understand it at all. Look, so just before we move on to the main topic, right? Scottish Rugby have got a wee bit of slack for this, but in reality, could they have done anything different? Because they
Yes.
sure, okay,
Yes. Like, I can't believe that an organisation such as themselves isn't doing their due diligence and they're not looking in to ensure that they're getting these people in long term. Like, you have to ask the question of him, like, do you plan to see out your contract? Um, we see you've got a history of this. Are you going to do that to us? All that kind of stuff. Same with bloody Williamson. Like, oh, are you going to be, a decent CEO? Or are you going to be a wee dirty wee whistle or something? Like,
do you have any Coldplay concerts booked?
but I feel like from the outside looking in, that Scottish Rugby haven't done their research and have gone into their usual trap of
Do we know that though?
let's hire them.
Like, I look, and if anyone knows, if the hiring manager so happens to be listening, please, let us know, right?
Mm.
But I'd like to think that is it. Look, I see that how's your family feel about this? Oh, they're still in Australia, are they? Is that going to affect you? Are you still going to be here? Like, I cannot see a world where that didn't come up during the interview process. Just for them to go, look, how does the missus feel about it? Oh, yeah, no, they're back in Oz because our daughter's at school or whatever. We don't want to uproot them. But, I go back every couple of months outside of international windows to be with my family, so it's fine. I don't see how that didn't come up, but maybe. Maybe. I'm trying to give the SRU the benefit of the doubt, because if that did come up, right,
Yeah.
and Fuka said, look, we're managing it, it works, we still see each other plenty, yeah, it's tough being away, but I'm fully committed to this job here. She comes over here quite often. When there's no international games on, I go back home, we make it work. So, if that didn't come up, then yeah, that's on them. But if that did come up and they were like, it's okay, we make this work, and the SRU believed that, if he said, yeah, no, it's fine, how else would they have known?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's probably been a bit harsh, but I think it happened too often with the SRU in these situations. So I just think there maybe needs to be something looked at in the process of hiring someone, whether that is a coach or even someone just coming into the company at a lower level. There just needs to be I would say, a little bit more scrutiny, because as a teacher, I've done many interviews, and I could tell you for a fact I've had that many rejections. I swear nobody takes me for my word. So, you know,
Well, that's a thing. Interviews are such a weird space because it's one of the only times where you feel like people on both ends of the table's lying. I was like, right. So it's like the guy that's offering the job is like you're bigging this up a wee bit here. And the guy that wants the job is like, you're inflating your CV a bit here. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. But it's all a mess. It's all a mess. Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to steer the boat in a different direction here, lads, right?
Go for it.
So,
steer us into that
recently,
iceberg.
this has been building. Now, for people listening, Jordan and I both do content online. And I remember when I started, all the people who was helping me start would tell me, watch out for the South African fans. They're brutal. It'll be like water off a duck's back. I mean, you need to basically have a wee bit of a thick skin. Don't let it get to you. But I'll tell you what, 80-90% of the crap I get online comes from Ireland fans, not Springbok fans. It happens within the rugby media. It happens within the general public. We see it online just because we interact with the rugby public a lot. But it doesn't happen in football. When it comes to football in the World Cup, almost every Irish person was supporting Scotland. But when it comes to rugby, there's a lot of animosity now between Ireland and Scotland. You get Rob Kearney and Peter O'Mahony a lot on Virgin Sport talking about it constantly. Their media bash us every single time we're about to play each other. We've got this reputation of being arrogant and big-headed. And there's this real hatred now. I mean, maybe hatred might be too far. And you used to get it, and you've commented on this, Jordan, saying that you used to get it a lot at Calcutta Cup games, and now you feel that the atmosphere is more hostile at a Scotland-Ireland game now.
Absolutely. Like, the reason that I've had season tickets since they've been a thing, first England game I ever went to was in 2008, and we happened to win that game. My mum came with me to 3 other games, England-Scotland games, after that, and then refused to go to them because of the environment, with people just being up themselves and being a pain in the backside. And she will now not go to an England match. But I'm noticing now how she felt about those England games is how I'm slowly starting to feel about Ireland games now. When Ireland come to Murrayfield, I don't feel it's jovial. There's not as much banter. Whereas I've had more banter in the last couple of Calcutta Cup matches with English. The Irish fans that have been there, I'm sure it's not all of you, but it's not been a joyous atmosphere because, and I'm going to put it down to this, but Irish fans, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I've heard from fans at those games that a lot of the animosity is because we didn't back you for the 2023 World Cup. We didn't back your bid, where France came over with a favourable option of, we'll do this, we'll give you the choice of your base for the World Cup, and Ireland, I don't know what Ireland's offer was, but we chose French. And because of that, there's this hate, which then, boils over to like your Carneys and your O'Mahonys who can't say anything.
Anything positive.
Nice. They can't say anything nice, can't say anything positive about a Scottish team because we're in their heads. But we shouldn't be that much in their heads because we've not done a lot of success against them, and we probably don't have as much recent decent history as they do.
So, do you think the thing about the England fans, right, and the Ireland fans, that maybe that the English fans are more jovial because they don't come up to Murrayfield expecting a victory anymore? That they might come up more in hope, the English fans, but it's like Scotland have had the better over us for the best part of a decade now, where we can't seem to beat the Irish for love nor money. So do you think the Irish maybe sort of come in an aspect of looking down their nose at us, thinking that they should beat us or they deserve to beat us, or do you think there's another reason? I know you've mentioned the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of things, other events I think have led up to this. I can't remember which year it was, but I believe it was Conor Murray accused some of the Glasgow players of trying to purposely break his leg during Glasgow Munster game, and that's where that whole rivalry started, which is now a big thing. Glasgow and Leinster have since become URC rivals and title contenders with each other, so there's a rivalry that's built there now.
Yeah.
And there was the whole Joe Smith thing where they accused Scottish Rugby of orchestrating the traffic and then the Pipers to slow down their entry to the stadium so they couldn't do their warm-ups properly, and the fact that they were late going into Murrayfield was all the fault of the SRU, and if it wasn't for that, they would have won that game.
Us at Murrayfield.
So that was Vern Cotter's last year in charge. I think Hogg scored a double or a treble. Paddy Jackson was still playing for Ireland. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah. Well, I was the one with a nice wee line-out move from Alex Dunbar where they just chucked it and he came right through the middle.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
And Greig Laidlaw had the kick at the end.
Yeah. What a load of BS, by the way. Oh, you set up all these traffic stops so we couldn't get in on time. Like, really? You think the SRU have that much power? Oh, we're just going to block this road and this road and this road. You're going to literally have to leave Edinburgh to come back into Murrayfield. What a load of...
The SRU couldn't have flushing toilets in their own bloody stadium, let alone slow down the bus that the Irish were on. Like, come on. It's like...
The only thing that the Scottish Rugby could have somehow done, which I doubt they would have done it, is if they'd managed to infiltrate the Irish bus and put a Scottish Rugby representative driving the bus. Oh no, I've taken the wrong way. Of course they've not done that.
Do you know what? I should. I don't have his number. I should text him. I actually know the coach driver for the Scotland team bus. I'm going to ask him about it next time I see him. Because I usually go up and say hello to him when I arrive at most Scotland games. I'm going to ask him, is that right? But I bet there was nothing. I'll report back on this, right? But
good.
He's obviously going to say, look, obviously we didn't do anything. Because it'd have all been... I know there's gamemanship and you can put pillars in the away dressing room to annoy them, but I was like, you're not going to disrupt traffic in Edinburgh City Centre.
Edinburgh City Centre does that itself. You should have left with plenty of time.
So, I mean, you see it come... I think the Irish media has a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Like... the last Blair Kinghorn or something. Oh, yeah, do you lads think you can beat Ireland tomorrow? And they'll go, yeah, I think we like. You're a professional player. You're going to back your own team.
Yeah.
What else are you going to say? No, mate, I think we're going to get pumped tomorrow. I was just thinking, it's not going to happen. I was like, we're just there to make up the numbers. They're too good. Like, what are they expecting it to say?
Like, again, like, I'm always one of these people that you have the belief that your team can beat anyone on their day. So if we execute our plan perfectly, then we could beat any team on the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not an unfair thing to say because, yeah, that's how it would probably go for most teams. But what we find with Scotland is they don't execute a plan perfectly, so that's why they don't win. Like, if you're not going to back your team or you're in a professional environment and you don't think you could win a test match, you shouldn't be in the squad because you've already lost the psychological battle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the sort of thing that you could put, I don't know, Namibia against New Zealand or the worst team in the world against New Zealand. And if you had the media and asking that team's like, oh, do you think you're going to beat New Zealand? Like, yeah, we'll give them a go. We all know that they're not. But it's, it's like theatre that, it's part of the sport that you have to be like, yeah, let's go. Let's have a competition. Because no one's going to want that. Going, yeah.
Look, I'm not being funny, right? And for many years, we can't defend that Ireland have been a better team than Scotland, right? Yeah. We don't have the record to even try to argue that Scotland have been a better team. They've not. But the levels between them aren't that far apart that Scotland can't believe that on the day they can beat them, especially on the home days, right? So I really don't get this. I don't get where it's come from. You're right. I mean, I think it's probably an accumulation between the not backing them for the World Cup, the Munster accusing Glasgow of trying to purposely break the leg of one of their players, the Glasgow Leinster thing, that the Scotland Ireland sort of lives on through that at the club level now. It's probably fair to say. But you don't see us. I don't feel that same intensity, with Connacht or Ulster when they play in the Scottish teams. And Edinburgh seem to get a pass as well. Like, there isn't that same. Like, I feel it between Scotland and Ireland. I feel it between Glasgow and Munster and Glasgow and Leinster. But I don't feel like Edinburgh get that same harsh treatment when they play any of the provinces.
That's because Edinburgh doesn't have a rival.
You have to compete with someone to have a rival.
Except Zebre. That is our rival. To be fair, for a while, Pro 14, Pro 16, whatever it was days, Connacht was a good rival of ours. And it's always a game that's like a 50-50. It's always been like that between Scotland and Connacht, especially since Connacht won the Pro 14 in 2016. It's been that kind of 50-50 contest. But it's because, unfortunately, and I can say this as an Edinburgh fan, most of our contests it could go either way, except for Leinster, maybe the Stormers, and maybe the Bulls. Because as much as you guys want to think it, the Glasgow one can still be a toss-up because Edinburgh don't always get their backsides handed to them. So the difference is that Edinburgh doesn't have I would say, a natural rival within the URC or even in European rugby. But because of Glasgow's success, they've got, X, Y, and Z as their main competitors.
Yeah, Glasgow have got about 4 rivals. I think it's fair to say that the closest thing Edinburgh have to a rival is Glasgow, and it's manufactured within the SRU. So Glasgow have got Edinburgh.
You feel that rivalry at the Glasgow games.
Sorry?
You only feel the rivalry between Edinburgh and Glasgow at the Glasgow leg of the games.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I'd love there to be that little bit of, and a little bit doesn't hurt, a little bit of animosity between the sides, but you feel that when you're at Hampden, or if they did it, when they probably used to do it at Scotstoun, there was probably that little bit of extra there. But at the Hive or at Murrayfield, it's not there.
Yeah. I know it's not at all. Jordan, can you see if you can do something with your mic? You're coming through really quiet, mate.
Yeah, give me a sec. Keep talking. I'll figure it out.
Fine. I can still hear you. You just, I'm leaning forward to try catch you. But
hopefully this will be better.
Yeah, that's a lot better. So with Glasgow, it's like they've got the Bulls. That's become a big rivalry now. The Munster Glasgow one is probably my favourite match day in the URC calendar. Although, annoyingly, the last couple of years, they've scheduled it when there's no internationals about. Whoever does the URC fixture list is atrocious.
It's round 1 of the URC this year.
Yeah, when there's going to be no international players.
There might be, though. We don't start till, end of September. That is plenty of time. It might not be full-blooded squads, but I tell you what, both teams will want to start off well with a statement win.
Yeah.
So you might get.
So.
You might get that for round 1.
Fingers crossed. If I had a wee bit more money and I wasn't all up in the air at the moment, I was considering going over for that one because I would like to go to Thomond Park.
Is that at Thomond
to
this
see
year?
it? And yeah, you've got it with Leinster now. That's you can feel it every time Glasgow and Leinster play. There's proper bite in that one. Ethan, do you have any opinion on why this is happening?
Which bit? Sorry, the Leinster Glasgow shithouse.
the Scotland Ireland rivalry. Where's that originated from?
I feel I kind of agree in that I feel like it has been stemming over for the last 20, like not 20 years, sorry, since about 2014 would have been that Munster, started out with Munster.
Mhm.
I do wonder how much of it, it's really weird because I feel it's not really from us to Ireland. It's a
Yeah.
lot of it is Ireland to us. And it's kind of, it's not quite, bro, what's your problem? It's kind of like, who, me? What have we done?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I get that a lot.
yeah.
Online, I get accused of hating on Ireland a lot. I mean, a
Sorry.
lot, and I don't. Right? I mean, not gonna lie, not the biggest fan of Leinster, the Leinster fan base, but that's not exclusive to the Scots.
Yeah.
um, the rest of it, I was like, Munster are my Irish side. I
Mhm.
spent 10 years living in County Clare, which is in Munster. It's my home away from home. So I quite like it. And I just can't wrap my head around it. And anytime I speak about it, oh, you're always hating on Ireland. This is why we don't like you. And I was just like, what have we done? And
Again,
it gets,
sorry.
sorry.
Again, sorry.
Yeah, I think the way you manufacture the clips doesn't help. And I know there's one or two sitting in the folder that's still to go up as well. Yeah.
Oh.
So look, before we move on to the fan questions, right? Because we're already at 45 minutes, and there's a lot of interesting stuff to go into.
Yep.
Do you think when Scotland start to beat Ireland again, and because Ireland aren't going to carry on beating us forever,
Yeah.
do you think that'll go away or
Oh,
get
hell
better?
no. Hell no. If the sort of person that I am, I would throw it straight back. Like, listen, you've had to deal with it, but I would just do it because we got one win over them. Okay, it need to be a string. You can't just get one win and then be like, "Oh, we're the top dogs. We're going to win everything." No, you don't do that. I'm that petty that if we got a bit of consistency and we're beating them regularly, I'd probably be likely to throw it back and be like, "Ah, see this pot kettle? You like it?"
I mean, I wonder how much of it is for because when we're talking about the England one earlier, it's kind of like, to my knowledge, Scotland's never had such a long period of not quite would you say domination against England? Like,
I, I don't think I.
I would. I think they've beaten us once in 8 years or something like that.
yeah, yeah. That, for a lot of Scottish people, us getting hosed by England was quite a regular occurrence. But
Yep.
now that it's kind of tipped
Mhm.
into a more reasonable favor to us, it's kind of it's it's a bit more banter. Whereas I
Yeah.
wonder for Ireland that because in the 90s it was the opposite. We were hosing Ireland quite regularly in like the 90s and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of as things have gone on, it's slowly become the Ireland show that we may have gotten a win now and then since 2000 sort of thing. But now, it's been almost 10 years since we've beaten Ireland that
Yeah.
you wonder how much of that, not quite, I don't know if resentment's the right word, but, kind of like, oh, finally, we're beating you guys. We completely own you sort of thing.
Well, you look at the last two Scottish victories over Ireland, right? It was 2017. As I mentioned, I think it was off air. Paddy Jackson was still playing at the time, and Stuart Hogg scored a double. And that was Vern Cotter was the coach. That was the last time we beat Ireland at Murrayfield. And then before that, it was Dan Parks slopping over a kick at Croke Park before the Aviva had even opened. Like, that's how long Ireland have had dominance. Since Dan Parks scored that kick, if you go back to there, Scotland had one victory over Ireland.
Yeah.
And that's in, do you think that was what, 20, I want to say like 2010? So what, we've had one victory over Ireland in 16 years.
And that was our last one in Dublin. We've not even won at the Aviva. No Scottish side has.
No, in any sport.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not just exclusive to rugby, football or rugby.
Funnily enough, though, I mean, I could be wrong on this, but I think Edinburgh, when they played Ulster at the Aviva might have been the closest, because I think we only lost that game by about 4.
It's a complete graveyard to Scottish sides, and I
Yeah.
do think the hoodoo will break soon because the skill level between Scotland and Ireland is the closest it has been since the tables had turned. I think since Ireland became a better team than Scotland, they went far, far ahead. The skill level between Scotland and Ireland now is the closest it's ever been. It's just a fact. So the Irish can beat their chest all they want and go, we'll get another 12 or whatever they want. It's coming soon. You can clip that one up, Jordan.
I will.
They're so 100%. It will happen soon, right? And it could be next. It could be next year. It might be the World Cup. It would not surprise me if we lose by the skin of our teeth in the Six Nations, but then beat them in the pool stage of the World Cup, and that's where we break our hoodoo.
I'd take that. I'd love that.
Well, I've said this before. I reckon whoever wins that pool stage game between Scotland and Ireland makes it all the way to the final. I should look at the way that it breaks up because, well, look, the way that the World Cup split up, the loser of that game goes into the same side of the World Cup draw. It's the Springboks, France, and New Zealand. That's the side of the draw that you're on. Scotland would then play, I think, someone like Fiji in the first round of the knockouts. Then you would play someone like Italy in the next stage. You'd get Argentina, and your toughest game would be England or Australia on that side of the draw, right? I would back both Scotland and Ireland to beat every one of those teams, even if Australia are at home. So I will say it now, right? And look, barring, obviously Australia at home or England having their usual showing up for a World Cup, but then fold at the semis, right?
Yep.
Outside of something weird happening, the winner of that Scotland-Ireland game in the pool stages goes all the way to the final. Winner of that game will make the final. I mean, they'll probably lose to South Africa going by World Cup history, but the winner of that game goes all the way to the final. And if it's us, we're rooting for France because if we meet the French in the final, there's our road to victory, lads. Scotland-France final. Right, okay. So, unless anyone has anything to say more on Scotland, Ireland, I'll move on to the fan questions that we've.